within each tree there was a fairy spirit. The Greeks would call it a hamadryad. This is where we get the belief that you knock on wood for luck, because that means the spirit within the tree can actually hear that. The hawthorn is known as the May bush or the May blossom. It blooms within May, and it has these beautiful white flowers. It's a great time on May's Eve, or Beltane, the Celts would call it, to decorate that. No way we weren't supposed to ever cut a hawthorn tree, because that is bad luck.
We had a May bush. The eve of the May, we went out. You picked the daisies, the cowslips. You made daisy chains. You made primrose chain. Wound them all around any bush. It made no difference, especially the hawthorn.
And did you cut down the hawthorn tree?
Oh no, it's a living tree. It was a living tree. No, you didn't cut it. It's you could cut a hawthorn. You must be joking. You'd be shot.
You wouldn't bring one inside anyway?
No, with thorns, no.
Bad luck to say.
It was bad luck.
Another folkloric belief regarding the hawthorn during Mayday is that you should take the flower dew and rub it on your face for beauty. This is something that we see at Eastertide too. The hawthorn tree is especially regarded as a witch's tree because a haw is related to a hedge. Prickly trees that you would plant around your garth, or your yard as the Norse would call it, a garth. This would serve as a protective barrier around your garden. Witches among the Norse were known as hedge riders. Witches guard over that liminal space, sort of like the Slavic witch Baba Yaga. She lives on the edge of the forest, right? This seems to be the witch's domain, so it makes sense that the hawthorn or hedge tree is the witch's tree. May's Eve is also celebrated as Walpurgisnacht, or St. Walpurgis Night in Germany. This night is still celebrated by pagans and witches all over the world. According to Walpurgis' hagiography, she left her convent in Dorset, England, and head out for Heidenheim, which means House of the Heathens, where she founded a new convent for German women who had just converted from heathenism. So it's just a little ironic that her feast day, May 1st, happens to be associated so much with witches, and she set out to convert. I presume it makes sense that they would replace a time that has significance for witchcraft with a saint's feast day that banishes witchcraft. Dancing around the Maypole, Mayday tradition. In 1644, Parliament even tried to ban the Maypole, declaring it a heathenish vanity. However, this ban has been unsuccessful. It is an unbroken pagan tradition. Many courtships and marriages used to be formed by meeting at the crossroads and dancing around the Maypole. I discovered during my research that there are birds in Australia called bower birds. A bower is like a chamber or labyrinth. There's even the satin bower bird, which is a blue bird, and he only collects blue items for his nest. I think if I have any spirit animal, it would be a bower bird, because I love the color blue. One of the elaborate nests that the bowerbird creates is called a maypole. This name must directly derive from the pagan celebrations of frolicking around the maypole. I think it's really cute that they would name a bird nest after this tradition. One tradition we should keep is the May basket, because in olden days, to go a-maying meant to go gathering flowers. You put a few flowers, even dandelions in there with a little note, any trinkets you would like. But this is called a May basket, and you leave it on someone's porch to acknowledge that you really care about them during this time of the year and you're thinking of them. Toadstools. These fairy rings essentially are gateways to the otherworld, same as we would consider a waterfall to be. These were something that you would not want to step inside, especially on St. John's Eve or May's Eve and certain holidays, because the gate to the otherworld would be almost open. A few minutes in the otherworld of the Fae equals like years on Earth, so if you get trapped in the fairy realm and ever get a chance to escape, you're gonna age like 80 years the second your foot hits the earth, because you've been gone so long, even though it feels like it's only been a few minutes. And of course, people think that this idea of the mushrooms being fairy rings and being magical has something to do with them also being hallucinogenic, because, yeah.